thing that pops up during that time, you know, that you would like us to spend some specific time on, that would be helpful, can guide our facilitation of the discussion on August 30th. And then at the end of that, I guess the goal would be to get guidance from the council on your rules, whether or not you see some things that we should spend some time on to update or to change, or whether you're comfortable with the rules and whether you're comfortable with our recommendation there on the last column in terms of the order of business, what your thoughts would be on that.
Jim, anything to add?
No, Dave and I talked about it and worked through with some of the information, and I think the workshop will be very beneficial on the 30th. And we do need to make, obviously you'll notice on the approved to no for roll call isn't included, so that wasn't a typo. I looked back and it wasn't included, so you know, rather than make several changes to the document, we just want to do one review at it and get that document through, signed and posted, so that we can move forward.
So if we work session on the 30th, if there are some things you'd like us to work on to make adjustments to your rules, we can do that, have those back for you in work session that second Monday in September, and then on the third Monday in September could be the normal adoption of an updated set of rules. If the scope of changes that you wanted to see got to be extensive, then we might need to push that, you know, have a little bit more time to do that for you. But theoretically, we could kind of tie this up for you by the middle of next month.
With regards to two parts, I just wanted to mention something very briefly. With regards to your comments about the suspension of the rules, I'm glad this is in there, but I think it's only really relevant. The only thing that you could not suspend basically is the public vote, because there's very little in our actual ordinance, I believe, about what the council does besides establishing the date, the time, the place, and the use of the chambers. Other than that, pretty much all votes shall be by public vote is pretty much all that governs the actual meeting, from what I can remember, which is good news, because that's very simple there. With regards to that section 5 on the abstentions, I did a little research on this, and Robert's Rules of Order makes it very, very clear that you cannot compel somebody to vote in the standard Rules of Order, and that's something that I'll work with you and provide some suggestions with how I would recommend that we change this, probably just striking that whole section there. That would be my take on that, because I think it is your right to participate or not participate if you're in that position. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that.
I have similar concerns to Michael's about the suspension of, or the requiring a vote and not being able to abstain. The other
Sir,
the
I can't quite hear Dave.
Okay, I'm sorry, I've got the hearing aids turned up here, so I'm not aware of how I'm talking. Thank you. I share Michael's concern about this issue, and I'd be happy to work with you too. The other thing I wanted to say was, as someone who runs meetings frequently under Robert's Rules of Order, I realize how difficult it is. And while I don't always agree with some of the mayor's decisions, although that's rare, I appreciate the fact that he runs the meeting as fairly as he can, and I appreciate the results that he gets. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.
Yeah, I have a question. Regarding the history of agenda format and the 2010 recommendation, it's quite different than what we're currently doing, and I'm just wondering where you got your information, if you pulled from, say, the Vancouver City Council or other city councils and how they set their format?
No, I think it was just our professional take on what we would advise in terms of an order. We didn't do an extensive comparative analysis of others.
I did look at MRSC to see what they recommended, and I don't know if we're gonna do it on 30th or not, but we're looking at the actual agenda packets too to see how those could be enhanced as well to kind of have a better flow and a better review process. So we are looking into comparables and
I forgot about the MRSC. Yeah.
MRSC site.
the '04 order was right out of the MLC, is that right?
No, the '04 is right out of the approved.
Right.
Oh, yeah, the actual rules of procedure was from MRSC. I believe there was an appendix in there, or,
Oh, okay, so these aren't actually in our code, these city
I don't know
council
if they're-
rules of procedure?
No, they're based on the codes that exist, and then
They're
the
adopted by
council's
resolution, by your resolution.
resolution.
Okay, so the resolution is, okay,
Right.
I see.
Thank you for that reminder. I forgot you mentioned you look at that MRS. But also some of just our own advice in there. It's different than Vancouver's, but it's a different form of government as well.
Right,
Um,
yes.
so.
Other questions, comments? Council items. Dave, you want to start this direction?
Yes, thank you.
Hey, John?
The Code and Policy Review Committee to have a meeting next Monday, so we can start discussions on Molly's position at large to move towards making that a four-year position in the next, for the next election coming up. So we'd like to start that ball rolling, so.
I think we already have.
I can offer some.
This gets real
info
easy.
on that. I think if we had an easy button, I think this would be the easy button.
Okay.
The statute that governs your terms of office basically is prescribing that it should be 4 years. And you don't need to take any action as a council to change it from what it currently is to 4 years. It's supposed to be 4 years, and in fact, we've been operating inconsistently with statute in that regard, apparently for quite some time. And from what Don English can discern, what happened is when you first set up the form of government, there's a recognition that you want to get staggered terms in. So some are at 4 and some are not at 4. And then after that first cycle, it's supposed to roll in and all be 4. Now this is just a speculation about what the legacy of this might be, although there's only the one, so I'm not sure. But what will happen is at the end of your current term, that seat will be for a 4-year election. What's interesting is, the elections office didn't kind of grab onto that and say, hey.
But they're aware of it now?
Yes,
Okay.
and in fact, when we sought some input on this, because initially we were thinking, oh, we're going to have to change our code and do the machinations and, around trying to get everything to line up. And it looks like what will happen once we bring ourselves to be consistent with that is there'll be, including the mayor in the mix, so that there's eight seats, 7 council and 1 mayor, there'll be 4 and 4 in alternating 2-year time periods. So I think it'll be healthy just in terms of the level of potential change that could happen to the governing body.
By the way, on that note, I did a little research on that, and I think I know exactly where the confusion came in.